One example of something that seems totally random to us is all the food laws that God gave to Israel.
Yeah.
Right? The one that immediately comes to mind is they can't eat pork.
Right.
Right. They seem random to us.
Yeah.
They seem arbitrary.
Yeah.
When you place it, though, within the bigger picture of God's redemptive story, especially the first 5 books of the Bible, especially Genesis, you can't neglect Genesis, right, as the starting point. When you grasp the larger picture, you start to see that there is a logic, there's a significance to those laws.
Okay. Yeah, I need to know how bacon affects my faith. That's important to me.
That's right. So here's Leviticus 11, Sean. So here's where God, through Moses, is giving Israel the food laws about what they can and can't eat. So in terms of clean animals, here are the animals that they can eat. This is for Israel. Animals that live on the land, and they must, 2 things that must be true of them. They must chew the cud, and they must have divided hoofs. We're like, okay, that seems really random.
Yeah, very.
In general, how would you characterize animals that have split hoofs and chew the cud? When you think about that kind of animal, where do you find them?
In the fields, grazing or...
Whose fields? Whose fields?
Farmers' fields.
Right.
Yeah.
Generally, those are domesticated animals. They're not wild. Yeah. Okay. What was God's creation mandate for humanity? Genesis chapter 1. He creates the male and female. He blesses them. Be fruitful and multiply. Fill the earth and subdue it.
Yeah.
And his command is what? Rule over the animals.
Yeah.
Here is God, again, this is God's redemptive movement, taking man expelled from the garden into the wilderness. Right? Now he chooses his chosen people and begins to draw them back to his presence. But these are still the people of Genesis, right? They're still living in the era of Adam, reflecting God's creation and purpose for Adam. The animals that are acceptable for them to eat are the ones that they are able to rule over.
Okay.
Versus the ones that they can't rule over.
Oh, interesting.
Do you start to see the significance? All right, here's something else. Animals that fill the air, the flying animals he forbids, are carrion animals.
Yeah.
Animals that kill and eat flesh.
Okay.
Primarily, their diet are things that die. There's a connection.
Right.
Death is connected to the curse.
Right.
And the other thing they're forbidden to eat, and I'll let you connect the dots here.
Yeah.
They're forbidden to eat reptiles. Things that crawl on the dust.
Yes, like the serpent.
Right? Things that crawl. A fascinating article, actually, I read by Peter Leithart. It was an article on the Gospel Coalition. We'll keep it in the links here. He wrote an article on making sense of the Bible's dietary laws.
Yeah.
One of the statements he makes are, animals are clean or unclean depending on how they relate to their environment.
Okay.
Whether to dust or to water. Well, what's the significance of how an animal relates to the dust of the earth?
Yeah.
What is mankind?
Right, from the earth, from the dust.
We are created from the dust of the earth.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. The animal is like the serpent who will eat the dust of the earth all the days of his life. Well, we're not to eat those animals.
Yeah.
Think of a pig. Domesticated split hoof animal. But what does a pig do?
Rolls around in the mud.
Desecrates the earth with his filth. Right?
Yes.
You're starting to get the picture.
But so tasty. It's so tasty.
Oh, I know. So tasty and wonderful. Yes. So again, the point is, when you place these commands within the bigger picture of God's redemptive purpose, of reversing, of undoing the effects of sin and the curse and the fall, and calling a people back to be his holy people, his possession, to live in his presence. Those food laws, given that Israel is a nation living still in the economy of Adam, a cursed earth, but trying to get him back to Eden, they start to make sense.